Islam and Life family, come y'all do another video. Make sure you guys like this video, share, subscribe. If you want to give a donation, my PayPal link is in the channel art. Also, I'll leave a link to my Patreon account. Make sure you get a copy of my book, Wealth Creation and Creation of Wealth, and that also will be in the link below. And I'm coming y'all to do this video, right? Because I just want to touch on this topic again before I move on to some other things that I want to discuss with you guys. And I was watching Yvette Carnell, and I know her from Dr. Boy's channel. Now, I didn't know she had her own platform until sister came to one of my videos and we were dialoguing. She told me to watch this sister here and everything, what she's saying. And I'm watching her, and I definitely feel her. But I think that in a lot of our family members, whatever, discussing the disparity between black people, white people, and income and wealth, is that we take on a defeated state of mind and a defeated purpose, and trying to address the social imbalance regarding income, which does exist, and you can mean good, but the things that you say can be harmful and detrimental to our progression. So let me say this here. You're born, you live, and you pass on in this life, right? And I encourage you in a positive and right way. Anything that you want to accomplish, if you want to try to be a billionaire, as far as it may seem to you and anybody else, go for it. If you want to be a millionaire, as far as it may seem to you and everybody else, go for it. That was that time before between when you're born and when you pass to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish in the right way, in a positive way. But my purpose in being here, whatever, is to also help you understand that the main goal is to try to be comfortable in life. You don't have to have the 5,000 square foot home, 10,000 square foot home, marble countertops, stainless steel appliances. You want to be able to live comfortably enough so you can pay your bills, have plenty left over to do the things that you need to, that you want to, and if emergency happens, you can take care of without being burdened. And her message is kind of counterproductive to that, because she makes it seem like, hey, our skin color, our skin tone is just, hey, it's just the ceiling that you can't. The ceiling that you just can't go no further, and that's not true. I totally disagree with that premise. Is it more difficult? In some cases, yeah. Is it more challenging? In some cases, yeah. But that's what life is about. Breaking the rules as far as what you saying we can't do and what we're able to do and what we're able to do. But you have to understand the process and the game that you're in dealing with finances. That's a main key. And I'm gonna use myself as an example, right? Now, I was married once upon a time, long ago, like in Star Wars, right? And I graduated from college, and this is like 17 years ago, when earning a college degree meant something. Now it ain't really worth paper that's written on. It's just a piece of paper that you got, because all the online schools have diluted the value of having a college degree. From what I'm reading, statistics and stuff like that, and the fact that people are graduating and not having the skills to go into the job market to be effective in accomplishing whatever goals that company has. So. But this was when it was still worth something, and it is worth something depending on what field that you're coming out of, right? Not to get too far off subject. So, graduated, short story, got married. They were college graduate, professional as well. So our income was close to $100,000 a year, right? Rich, no. Comfortable, very much so. I'm talking about. Eating out, Carrabba's, Red Lobster, all sorts of, nice restaurants or whatever. Eating out several times a week, taking vacation and trips, going to Florida and places like that. Things that, people with with some substance are able to do that many of us have not had the privilege of doing, or may only do once in a lifetime, if at all. You know, so it's possible. See what I'm saying? But you gotta have a plan. You gotta understand what's going on around you as far as finances. You know, our people suffer from a lack of knowledge, not a skin color thing. 'Cause we're at a point finally where as we ascertain the information, there's nothing to hold us back. Now, she referenced in one of her videos, right, a guy who had a business for a restaurant and that he couldn't get funding from the bank. And like I said, I listen to what people say and I pick up on key phrases. Now, what he said is that I went to the bank, I had a business doing good, want to open up another business or another restaurant, and the bank wouldn't give me the funding for it. You're going to run into that. That's going to happen. But at the same time, one thing that he said was that my credit was pretty good. That's the key. It's pretty good. What does pretty good mean? You have to understand is that people speak different languages. People speak the language of being a doctor. They have certain words they use. They write in Latin. People speak legalese, whereas you think it means one thing, it means something totally different in that area of professionalism. That's why you have professionals and what you call laymen. Laymen don't understand professional terms, whatever, because they're, used to common, generic English words and phrases. Let's see here. Also, in art or culinary, whatever, they speak a certain kind of language. Whereas if you ever went to cooking school or whatever, you don't understand what they're saying. It's the same thing in business and finance. Because there are people who may have built $1 million businesses in construction or restaurants. But when it comes to banking and finance, they don't understand. When it comes to the stock market, they don't understand. That's why people who are filthy rich give their money to people who aren't as rich as they are to invest it, because they don't understand the stock market. They don't understand asset allocation, vehicles, mutual funds, derivatives. Those things are like, hey, you speaking Chinese to me. I don't understand. So I get someone who understands this language to take the money that already tons of money that I'm already making and making more money by investing it. So when you go to the bank, you have to be able to speak in their language and understand what they're looking at and what they're looking for. Like, do you have a balance sheet? You may have a business, but you don't have a balance sheet. And a balance sheet is what gives you your assets and your debts to let you know what your business is valued at. So meaning that, how many bank loans do you have or lines of credit do you have versus like equipment, cash on hand, cash in the bank or whatever, to see how heavy your coverage, how heavy your business is leveraged. Is it really debt ridden? And that could potentially be a bad investment. Also people gotta understand that what they think is a good credit score is not a good credit score, or being a worthy risk. Because there's really no such thing as good credit scores. That you have people who are worthy credit risk, people who are not a high credit risk. So if your credit score, right, is in the 600s, newsflash for you, that's not good credit. It's not. In layman terms, it's bad credit. You get to, when you reach the level of 700 credit score to about 740, that's good credit there. That means you qualify for like the 4% interest rate, the 5% interest rate, maybe a 3% interest rate. When you get to 750 to 800, that's pretty much a great credit score there. But 500, you might well forget about it. 600, that's poor credit score. You're not doing good. Maybe once upon a time, back in the 80s, 90s, it was acceptable, but in today's time, 600 is bad. Most people don't know that. And low 700s is just good. It's just fair, pretty much. I've seen someone who had because like we're always told that the credit score ends at 800. I've seen someone with a 900 credit score. I don't know how they got it. I don't know how they did it. We had a 900 credit score. Well above what was supposed to be the top tier credit scores. So you have to understand that. You got to be able to talk finance and banking terms when you go into these banks and institutions, so that they know that you understand what's going on with how money works in relationship to what they're giving you in relationship to your business. So if you can't speak that language, there's a possibility, based off the fact that you don't really understand finances and investment, and that you are black, that hey, you may not get that loan. you know. And I'm trying to tell y'all that now, so that y'all understand. And you got to get your financial education so that you can get access to the things that you need. Understanding, like I say, a balance sheet, a profit and loss statement, a prospectus, which is what a corporation sends out every year to its stockholders to let them know how well the company is doing, you know, in the previous year, which has all those things in it: the income statement, balance sheet, profit and loss statement. You know, for instance, profit and loss statement, right? I'm just giving you guys some generals and running a business, right? You get a profit and loss statement every month, and you get one that shows the total year or whatever, right? When you're running a business, you need to have a profit and loss statement so that you can track how well that you're doing. In your profit and loss statement, right, you have what you call your gross sales. This is all the money that you made. Let's say just for the month, right? So what happens is that you take your sales, your gross sales, meaning all together, and you subtract that from your costs. Like whatever it costs you to do business, like, if you need supplies, materials, um, things of that nature. That's your cost. You subtract that from your gross sales, which gives you your net sales, right? After your cost. So then after your sales, you have to subtract your expenses, and your expenses are things like well, it's broken up into two categories. Your expenses are broken up into regular expenses, and then what you call non-controllable expenses, non-controllable expenses. Now, your controllable expenses are things like your payroll, you know, overtime, vacation time, sick leave. How many people are using these things? So what it is that if they're using these things, whether like they're getting overtime, vacation pay, sick leave, whatever, then these are all things that are being paid out of your business to cover areas where there's no productivity. I mean, you're not making money. So in some cases, whatever, you'll find somebody say, well, we already got 4 people on vacation this month, so you got to wait the next month to take your vacation. It's all wrapped up in the finances of it, how they want the paperwork to look or whatever, because it's always based off of sales over sales, or based off of this year versus last year. So if last year they had like 4 people take vacation, they're only going to want 4 people to take vacation the following year, because it may impact the overall profitability. And then you have what you call your non-controllable expenses. Your non-controllable expenses, whatever, are the taxes that you pay, your lights, the rent or the mortgage on your place of business, because you don't have no way of, reducing those prices, or, not paying them. So those are your non-controllable expenses. So you take your gross sales and you subtract them from your costs, then from your controllable expenses, and then non-controllable expenses, and that gives you your net profit, your net sales, your net profits. That means this is money that you can take and put into the bank, or put into your pocket, or give it to the home office corporation that you work for. And these are things that you have to understand. And many business owners that have small companies, whatever, don't have this, because they're not able. That's why they don't scale up. You get the one place that got the great hamburger, and they busy and they do well, but they never open up another satellite restaurant several blocks down or in another city because they don't have that business acumen. So a part of, being successful is developing a business acumen. You got to be all things to all people. And then you hire people who have that expertise, and you pay a little bit more out of pocket, but then you have people that can help your business scale up. But you always best that you learn what they know, have a basic understanding of what they know, so they don't hustle you or swindle you out of what you're doing, or rob you. But like I said, don't never allow your skin color to be a reason not to go forward and to try to become wealthy. Because this is one of the only places in the world where you could be poor and you could become wealthy. One of the few only places. There are other places that you can do it, but this is one of only a few. Ain't that many. You know what I'm saying? But as far as, social stratification and moving up, this is one of the places where it can happen. And you can't allow people to mind play you with your skin color being a reason to hold you back. You got to use your skin color as a reason to prepare you for it, to make the naysayers say, yes, you did it. Of course, there's disparity between white and black. Hey, we were enslaved from the time that we brought over here in 1619, and then coming out of Reconstruction era, whatever, 1865 when they did away with slavery, I think, or whatever, all the way up into 1964, 65 when they started passing all these civil rights laws. So we had all these things working against us in our progression. And white people just had a free hand to acquire all the wealth, all the positions, all the authority, all the control. But we have still made strides despite all of those forces working against us. Folks, we're not running, a short race. We're not running a 50-yard dash. We're running a marathon. And with each generation, Lord willing, it'll get stronger, more smarter, and more educated. But it's our responsibility to do that, because we can start with ourselves. And even though I may not become wealthy, but if I give my child the tools, the education they need, they may become wealthy. In one of my other videos, right, I'll reference it again and make sure that if you don't watch it, you don't see it, that you hear it in this one. Talked to a young lady. She had a baby. The baby was 5-6 months old. Beautiful, thick gold bangle on. So it's a nice bangle. I said, what investment do you have for your child? Do you have a CD for your child? Do you have a savings account for your child? No, I don't get that. But I give my baby everything she wants. No, you getting things that you want for the baby because you're playing dress up. But you're not thinking about their future. Get your kids educational toys, pop-up books, puzzle pieces. Now they want a doll, something like that, to get older. You get that for them too or whatever, but try to direct them in the direction of educational toys. And then as you learn about finances from watching my videos, buying my book, watching other stuff, then you teach that to them so that they come up with that understanding. And then they may be the one who prepare to the next level. That's what white society does. White society, for instance, middle class people, they groom their children to go into the lower upper class echelon. That means that, the people who have little small businesses and stuff like that, and companies, they groom their children. Their children are going to be what? The lawyers and doctors and, start other kind of businesses and everything to prepare them to that next level. So it's the same thing with us, is that even if we don't break that ceiling, if we prepare our children, they'll eventually break the ceiling, because the ceiling is constantly being broken, family. We coming from chains. We coming from bondage. Being the first people to come over here to where we're at now. So don't say, hey, you're limited by your skin color. Of course, white people got more than us. They got a 400-year head start on us, so they're supposed to have more. But that don't stop us from trying to run the race to catch up. And you catch up by educating yourself, by learning the system. Because if you educate and learn the system, no one can tell you no. Because you know. And that's very important. I can't stress how important that was. You know, like I said, me and my ex-wife, pretty much we had it going on, had plenty of money in the bank and stuff like that. And hey, she had it going on, and we were doing so well and being able to do so much for ourselves. Townhouse, 2 cars. You know, my income by myself, whatever. I was getting ready to buy a house for our family, and my credit wasn't that great, but because I had a solid employment and making good money, I qualified for enough to buy a house by myself. You know, and we was shining and, doing our thing. We see the crabs in the barrel, family members, friends, oh, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Spent several years handing out my money to attorneys, dealing with family court. But hey, it was a learning experience. I learned a lot from it, and it derailed me for a lot of reasons that I ain't gonna go into on this video. But before that, man, hey, we weren't rich, but hey, they say that $200,000 is the top. That 10% of this country earns $200,000 or more. That's the top 10%. So it's about 300,000 people in this country, right? So that means about 30 million people make $200,000 or better. So think about all the people that are in poverty or making less than $100,000 or don't have a combined income of $100,000. See what I'm saying? That's over 200 something million. That's over 200 something million people that pretty much are barely getting by or who are in poverty. $100,000 is not a lot of money, but it's enough to live comfortably. Another perfect example I just thought of, right? All right, I was a manager for Walmart. I hope y'all still are with me. I was a manager for Walmart, right? And there was a young man who was a cart pusher, who was black. He was going to school to be a pharmacist. And we love saying we're going back to school. We go get liberal arts degrees and all these degrees that you really can't do a whole lot with, especially in the climate that we live in with all these online schools. But he said he's going back to school to be a pharmacist. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. So I'm like, man, go out there and get them cards. Bring them on here so customers have cards. But I told him, stick with it. Stick with what you're doing. How long do you have left in school? See, like 2 years. Like, that's a good little while. But he stuck with it. He went from earning minimum wage, like $7.25, whatever, being a cart pusher, to becoming a pharmacist. And then I see him like a couple years later. Walmart made him a pharmacist. He got a sports car. He bought a house. He bought a boat. Just living good. Got him a little girlfriend and everything. So hey, it's possible. If he can do it, you can do it. And pharmacists made good money. Because, matter of fact, one of the girls who was the pharmacist at the store I was at, she was like, well, how much money you make? I like me about $50,000 a year. Say, dude, you got to go back to school. I'm like, what? I'm thinking like, hey, I'm doing pretty good. But what happened was that I went into the personnel department to get my paycheck, and I ended up getting her stub with my paycheck. I looked at her stub, I'm like, wow. She made about $3,000 herself within one pay period. And the $3,000 didn't count to like $400 or $500 that she had going into her profit sharing, the $400 or $500 that she had going to her 401k and other deductions. See what I'm saying? So I knew that the guy who got promoted to the pharmacy position was also making that kind of money. And when I did the math, I was kind of curious. That added up to about $130,000 a year. So $130,000 a year will afford you pretty much a lot of the basic finer things in life that you want to do or want to have. And with her, she owned her own home. Well, she was buying it, I think. And she drove like a Tempo or like a Nova, old car. You know what I'm saying? But when we get into a position like that, what we gonna do? We gonna go buy all the fanciest name brand clothes, $200-300 shoes, have the $70,000 car out front, and then you got student loan debt that you're trying to pay, and you living a life of debt. See, she didn't worry about the car. She worried about having a home and she worried about having a means of transportation to get back for, but because she drove a bucket. You know what I'm telling you? She drove a bucket, but she was investing for her retirement. She wasn't putting a whole lot of money into a vehicle because they understand that she invested into a home, which is very important. Because the truth of the matter, family, I'm telling y'all the truth. The truth of the matter is, white people, when it comes to middle class white people, their wealth is tied up in their homes. That's where the wealth comes from. Now, of course, they pay them differently from how they pay us. They create positions for them like project managers. Like, I really never know what a project manager does, but I always hear the job project manager, and they always paying them well. You know, had one girl, she was a philanthropist, something or whatever, and she like, well, that's such. I said, I know what philanthropy is, young lady. And I know pretty much what you're saying that you're doing, because she'll come to the bank, which I worked at, to get like a an increase on her credit line for a credit card, and they were paying her $40,000 a year, and this was several years ago, to go out there and pretty much ask people to give money to the museum or wherever she worked for. But they created a philanthropist, whatever position for. I can't think of philanthropist assistant or whatever, curator or something like that. You know, so they do pay them differently. But still, if you learn how to work with what you got, you work together as a team, you work together as a family, be it you and your children, you and your husband, and your children, you can acquire some of the things that people who have a lot of money acquire by working together as a team. That's very important. And it's doable. I'm telling you, it's doable. You know, they only put the skin color thing, whatever, to make you think that, hey, you're limited, but you're not limited. There's nothing that any white person does, any Asian person does, Arab person does, Hindu person does, whatever, that you can't do. And don't never let nobody don't never let nobody tell you that your skin color says you can't. When I was in college, I went to actual college, got my undergrad degree, you know, classroom setting. They had some kind of function, enrichment or whatever, and the professor was, telling some of us that we need to go to this function. So he said, now, like the white kids, they come there, they got their loafers on, their khakis, their, plaid shirts or whatever. He said, with us, what we have to do to get whatever it is that they were offering, I can't remember right now, I'm sorry, but whatever it is that they were offering, said we need to be, shirt, tie, if possible, sports jacket or suit, shirt and tie. Because that is just how we have to show up to be able to get what's available and to compete, and that's fine. Because if you got to go above and beyond to get advantage in some kind of way, then that's what you do. You got to be more hungry, more aggressive than the next person. So let's stop this, defeatist stuff and saying that we can't acquire this or that our white counterpart has that. Because, hey, that's just the way that it is. Because, hey, we running a marathon and we trying to play catch up. And they didn't have 400 years of our free labor or low paying labor to build up their wealth. Oh yeah, and about like the houses being what created for them is that they take and they go buy a house, right? And what they do, say the house is $200,000. Let's say they're paying $2,000 a month. This is an example, right? Majority of that goes towards interest when you first start paying for it, right? So in a 2-year time frame, let's say they pay off $20,000 on a house, right? So it going from $200,000 to $180,000. Then next thing you know, you have a lot of people moving into the neighborhood, and a lot of well-named people. Well, so your house value goes from $200,000 to $250,000, right? So now you have what, $70,000 in equity in your house that you can use. You can take out a loan against an equity line of credit to purchase more things and pay a super low interest rate on it. Or you can do a refinance, which is what many of our white counterparts do, whereas they take their car notes, their RVs, those little golf carts they be using, and the 4-wheelers and stuff like that, and other bills and debt. You can take your bills and debts and wrap them up into your mortgage with the refinance. Whereas the bank will take and send out checks to all these companies and restart your payment for your mortgage over again at a higher amount or whatever. So say if you have $50,000 worth of debt and you have $70,000 worth of equity in your house, whatever, they will pay off your $50,000 worth of debt. So everything is paid for and owned. You own your car, you own your boat, you own your RV, you own your four-wheelers or whatever. As long as what you have and what you're paying off falls in line with the amount of equity that you have in your home. But here's the clincher. You got to have great credit. You can't have missed and late payments on your credit report or with companies. Because if they start to pull your credit report and look at your credit score and look at your payment history, if you have bad and negative things up there, whatever, they will not refinance your house for you to pay off all your debts. So I've dealt with situations where people, hey, white people, they be calling in like frantic about their credit score. This was reported by you guys. This impacted my score. I've had situations where they call in, I'm trying to refinance. This is the last step. And they're saying there's something showing from a month ago about a late payment. And we got to try to hustle to try to help get this off of their account so their refinance will go through. Because if it doesn't go through, whatever, then hey, everything that they owe, they still owe for. So you may have several $100 payments. Your car payment $500. You got two cars, $1,000. Your boat is another $1,500 payment or whatever, $2,000 payment. You may have other things or whatever that you're paying on, and then you just consolidate this into your house payment. Your house payment may only rise or fall by a few $100. This is how the middle class finance works, family. And guess what? White people get done wrong too. Hope y'all still with me, because this is interesting here. White lady, right? I feel so sorry for her. My heart went out to her. She had a credit card, about $30,000 credit card. I guess she must have had some hiccups along the way with her credit score, and I guess the balance was so high. I guess she was struggling to pay it that the system itself was picking up on it, right? So what happened is she refinanced, paid off all her stuff, paid off the credit card. They took that woman's credit card from $30,000 to $200. And she called me. She said, Henry, she said, I feel like I've been kicked in my gut. I said, ma'am, I'm so sorry. And I definitely understand. And she said, someone needs to explain this to me. So there's a credit department. So, but for some reason they try to make us explain stuff or whatever. And we're not the decision makers. So I said, hold on one second. Let me get you over here to this department here. So I got on to the credit department, hey, and then I just let her work it out with them. So hey, anybody has a possibility getting done wrong by the system. So you think your $5,000-$10,000 is bad, and you think the world is over, and you're stressed out. It's not a lot of money. You don't make a lot of money, but it's not a lot of money. I had one lady, white couple. They had like a $90,000 credit card, and they had used about $70-something thousand on that credit card, and they were trying to pay off the credit card. And so she called me like, what's the balance? I told her $70-something thousand, and they were paying like $1,500 a month. But family, they did like balance transfers and some other stuff. I'll get into that on another video. And they were paying, like I say, $1,500 a month, but $700 of that to $800 of that was going towards interest on the account. So that means that only $500 to $600 were going to the principal. You know how long it's gonna take them to pay out that card? And she's like, well, me and my husband, we have a plan, but we're gonna try to pay the card off sooner than that. Can you waive some of the interest charges on the card for me? I'm like, lady, absolutely not. I want to come to work tomorrow. There's no way in where I can waive $600 worth of interest for you on your credit card and think I'm gonna have a job tomorrow. That just ain't happening. So these things can get away from you, having a lot of credit, having a lot of debt. spending it on things that aren't for your benefit, but just for your wants, can put you in a bad situation. So again, family, you know, I put the sister name in the video topic, hoping that she'll watch this video and maybe she'll adjust and change some of her dialogue. You know, because hey, if I can get a glimpse or glimmer of the nicer things of life, then you can do it too. Because I'm kind of chubby, thick, and dark skinned with a pug nose. So hey, how much more can you do? All right, talk to y'all later. Peace.